good late night evening, good early night. As I was sitting here working on my hair, I decided to do what I've heard people refer to as a story time. So today I was out at the gas station, Speedway, if you have one of those. That was my crochet needle falling. And these two young boys came in. It was early morning. I'm thinking, why aren't you in school, Lord? Who knows the school they go to? Um, could have been a private school. Maybe they're here from out of town. No idea. So they come to Speedway. The one young man got really excited. He was like, "Oh yeah, they have bananas." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'm glad they have what he's looking for." So they go looking around the store, and then the one young man um, starts to leave out. But as he's leaving, he said, "Oh yeah, oh no, they're gonna leave us." I'm like, oh, maybe their parents are outside waiting for them. And I'm playing it in my mind. And then the other boy was like, oh, I got my banana. I'm like, okay, okay. And I thought he was going to come get in the line. But no, he just ran out the door. And so none of us in the store said anything to each other. I'm not 100% sure if the cashier recognized it or not because, as I saw, he was the only one working. And there was quite a few people in the line. So I'm like, I don't think that's okay. I'm like, well, maybe their parents have an agreement with the store, or maybe they left some extra money and they went here earlier and told them, the kids are going to come in, they can buy this amount. I didn't really believe these things. I'm just, coming up with ideas. But people do what you allow them to do. So I didn't say anything to anyone. I went on about my business, stepped out the store. Was driving down the street, saw the little boys walking, and we all ended up in Starbucks. And I'm like, I could go tell the store manager that they're in Starbucks. And when I had that idea, I thought, whoa, that would be the of a Karen. I'm like, well, I don't want to be a Karen. And I'm like, they're also kids. I'm not really trying to get them in trouble. But then I thought, it's something they probably need to know. Because going through this world, when you're like this versus this, sometimes you get past it, sometimes you can get away with things. And then if your family knows, if your family doesn't know, sometimes they'll support you or defend you, or you can grow up entitled. So I decided to just speak to them, calmly. So I went over and I said, hey, you can get into a lot of trouble for stealing. And the one little boy was like, we didn't steal anything. We didn't steal anything. What are you talking about? I'm like, I was at the Speedway when you took the bananas and left. And the little boy was like, oh, no, no, no. We didn't get these from Speedway. We got these from 7-Eleven. So 7-Eleven is on the same block, a little ways down. I'm like, that could be. In my mind, I'm like, that's plausible. Oh, I do apologize. So before he said they got it from 7-Eleven, I'm like, oh, well, do you have an agreement with the store or something? Did your parents did you pay for it ahead of time, or, anything of that nature? And I was like, oh, no, no, we didn't get this from the Speedway. We got this from the 7-Eleven. And so the little boy who was doing the talking wasn't one of the little boys that was in there. And I'm like, oh, they weren't racing up to catch their parents. They were racing up to catch up to their friends. So it was four of them all together. And I told the young man, I'm like, no, it wasn't you. It was, the gentleman right there in the orange. And two of them had on gray. And I couldn't remember which one it was for sure. And, one of them in the gray. But it also looked like they had taken other items too. A pack of noodles. And I can't recall what the other thing was. And, he's like, oh, no, no, no. We got 7-Eleven. Mind you, the one who started talking wasn't even in the store, wasn't even being accused. And I just let them know. I'm like, well, I just want you to know that, there can be real consequences for stealing. You can get in a lot of trouble for stealing. I'm like, I'm just going to leave it at that. So as I was walking out the door, one of the ladies who looked like this, excuse me, and excuse my voice as well, she looked proud, I would say. Her face looked proud. I don't know if she was proud. I don't know why she was proud. I didn't ask her anything. We didn't have any conversation, but to me it appeared as if she was watching the interaction. And so I left and I went on about my business. And if I was thinking about it, I would have told the young man who was saying they got them from 7-Eleven that you may want to watch the company you keep because you can get into a lot of trouble. And so the purpose of me speaking to the young men was so they could know, even when you don't think people are watching, sometimes people are watching. Sometimes people see you. And things could have went totally different today. And, hopefully it was a learning experience for them and they think about their choices. Now I'll tell you what I did do. So when I finished, I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they really did get these bananas from 7-Eleven. And, he was just excited to see bananas again. And they were really carrying them in their pockets all this time. Didn't really believe it. But, you give people the benefit of the doubt. And if I was wrong, I would have went back to apologize. So I went down to the 7-Eleven, looked through the store for bananas. There were no bananas. And I actually had something to get from 7-Eleven too. So, and then I asked the clerk, did you have any bananas in here today? He said, bananas? No. So he was looking at me like I was all real confused. And so I hope the gentleman, learned a lesson. I really do. And so later on I was thinking, what would this version of a Karen be? And so when I said that to my friend later, she was like, a Katrina. And so that's my little story time. I do hope it was a lesson. I wasn't rough, I wasn't rude, I wasn't mean. But if you may not always think people are watching. You may not always think people care. But there may always be consequences for your actions. And just know that they're out there and they're real. All right. Take care. Oh, you can see. Yes, I'm doing it. Okay. Good night.